Hello and welcome to episode 45, and we're back with season 4, better than ever, and with better and awesome and even more engaging guests than before. Today, we've got somebody who's done some very interesting stuff, currently running more than 3 companies, and has the who's who of the stock market backing him at this point. The one, the only Vivek Bajaj. Vivek, welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you, Arul?
Thank you so much for starting season 4 for us.
Thank you, thank you. My pleasure to be here with you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very clear. In fact, Vivek,
Yeah,
I think we met a couple of years ago, right, at the Thai Kolkata event. I remember at that time you were running something called Elearnmarket. I think it's obviously StockEdge and all that has come up as well.
yeah.
But right now the stock market just seems to be on an unforgiving roll towards the top. What are your thoughts about the markets, and what are your thoughts about the way you have positioned your startups?
So I just keep on saying this that this was inevitable that this happened, and I think COVID was a catalyst to this happen faster because the overall percentage of population participating in financial market was so low that this growth was overdue, and I'm very glad that it happened. COVID obviously is not a very good reason to it happen, but the whole growth has fast forwarded, and we as a alternate ecosystem in financial market, we have been working on building power, giving power to retail investors for the last 6 years, and obviously we have seen growth in our working as well. But now from here, I see from a service provider perspective, I see very exciting times because that critical audience, the younger lot of investors who believe in taking things in their hand, who believe in doing things in the right way, they have come on boarded, and more of them are coming on board. So I think for every one of us in this entire ecosystem, there is clear value proposition to be added in their life.
And it's very interesting also, that there is a lot more education happening about the stock markets these days, right? I think earlier it used to be very much a tip-driven market, right? कि किसी
Yeah,
क्या tip है, who's buying what. And I think people, especially the millennial, wants to understand a little bit better of what he's
yeah,
buying. I think that also is driving a lot of these data aggregation companies
yeah.
that want to give more data, make people understand a lot more. And I think is that something that is causing investors to enter this space even more, right? Not from just a stock buying perspective, but also investing in this value ecosystem, right? Like grow, obviously being part of this, but there are other, like you've got Trendline, you've got Screener, you've got StockEdge, all these companies. Is this the time? Do you think this is the next leg that's gonna show up?
So if you see traditional brokers, obviously a lot of them have evolved as well. I mean, angel broking is a classic example where they have evolved, they've changed the goalpost for themselves. But if you see the traditional brokers, they were the one responsible for giving transaction platform to clients, research ideas, training, advisory. So there was one firm doing all work, and
Correct.
because of onboarding of technology and making onboarding of social media platform, all these services are getting distributed among specialized people. So you have, for training, you have specialized platforms like Elearnmarkets. For stock analytics, which is something which broker used to do, but the research team used to lead that. But now more data oriented, algorithmic oriented research analysis has taken over the center stage. So there are specialized products like you have mentioned. And then platform. I mean, we all have seen the growth of Zerodha and other discount broking. So what they have done very smartly, remove that platform from the broker and made it so smooth, so lovely with experience that they have become very big. So I think this journey of each and every service provider becoming bigger and bigger, that has just started, and something which is not happening new in the world. In US, it was witnessed almost 3 to 4 years ago. In India, as we always see that things which happen there, they always come back to India. So in India also, we are witnessing the same growth.
Wonderful. Let's get into your journey a little bit. I know there are so many things to talk about, and we've discussed this pre-show as well. But you grew up in Calcutta, not a traditional hunting ground for tech-enabled or tech startups for that matter.
Hmm.
You went to IIM Indore, right? And after that, you joined JM Financial. Throughout this journey, did you think, 16 years later, you'd be sitting on a Thursday night discussing a 10-year journey of building a tech startup or a tech platform out of Kolkata? Was that even something you thought about when you graduated in 2005 from IIM Indore?
Uh, so, I did my CA in 2001, and after my CA, I joined JM Financial in sales department.
Acha.
Okay. And the reason why I did that, I've always been an iconoclast. I've always been someone who have tried to do different things. And being a CA, we don't know anything about sales. Never we have been exposed to sales, other things. I intentionally joined JM Financial in sales because I wanted to learn the art of sales, which is such an important life skill for all of us. I worked there for a couple of months. Then I came back to Calcutta. I started my own mutual fund distribution business, and I failed miserably. And I'm very happy that my first venture failed. That gave me, grounded working chance. And then I started figuring out that what am I good at? What is my core competence? So I went back and I saw my family history. I saw my, inclination towards finance market. That's where I started trading in the market in 2002 when derivatives markets were launched. So it was such an easy market to make money. There was so much of price inefficiency. So given an option, I would have just traded and made a lot of money. But then I always wanted to become an entrepreneur, run organizations, create bigger organizations. So I thought, let me do an MBA because that will give me a holistic perspective of businesses. So I did went for my MBA, and when I did my MBA, I landed up in a job in company called JP Morgan in Bombay. But I didn't take the job because I again felt that what am I going to do with this job where it's investment banking, and again slogging too much. Uh, so I joined JM Financial again as a commodity analyst. I was their first employee for commodities. I worked there for 9 months, and the baby got produced, and I came back to Calcutta and I started my commodities trading. Now, 2006, 7, 8 was the golden period for everyone. Whoever was there in the market have made that base capital during that period. So I was fortunate that I did commodity, then currency, then high frequency trading, algo trading. I recruited a lot of technocrats to understand technology. So after that, 2013, I thought, what am I doing? I mean, there has to be larger purpose to my existence. I cannot be just a trader or running a trading firm. So that's where I started discovering my strength further and saw that can I create what Michael Bloomberg has done for an institution investor? Can I do that work for retail investors? Because retail investor is really at a disadvantage. Whatever platform used to exist there, they were myopic. They were only limited set of information shared with the retail investor. That's where our journey of creating a framework which will democratize financial market for everyone. So, the journey from being a CA, then salesperson, then analyst, then entrepreneur, and then a social media active contributor. So, I've always tried to challenge myself as someone who can do much more than what I'm doing. And I failed also, but at least on an overall basis, I would rank myself as done reasonably well to add value for myself.
I think reasonably well, you're being really, really humble and modest at this point. But I think that as we delve into the journey, we'll really realize the kind of things you've had to go through. Because I don't think Calcutta, and I have a very strong connection there because of from my grandmother's side. It's not a traditional, true entrepreneurial market. To
Yeah.
put it mildly, right? It's a very much Bajaj badla kind of a place, right? People really put money towards interest, and how can they earn more interest, and putting at risk capital what you've done and putting yourself out there, right? It's very, very rare. But what was it like? Like, you came back to Calcutta in 2006, right? You started with
Yeah.
this credit trading desk. Like,
Yeah.
what was it like to come back to Calcutta? Explain to your parents, your friends, everybody around you, talking about do trading, or try to earn interest money, and interest rates at that time was still very high. If you remember,
Yeah.
real estate, all that stuff, 24, 36% is what you used to hear. And then here you were saying, I'm going to launch this trading desk and I'm going to do this in Calcutta. How did you take that feedback? Or what was the feedback you got, and how did you react to that?
Well, I was called stupid. after getting so much of qualification and not working in Bombay and grow as a fund manager and eventually becoming big in Bombay, I preferred to come back to Calcutta. My father was very angry at me that why did you get educated? अगर यही करना था तो trading करते. Why did you got educated so much? So I totally understand what you said, that Calcutta has always been, but it's no more the same. Calcutta
Very
traditionally has been a very risk averse, very conservative thought process, business houses who believed in interest incomes. So that was a challenge for me to change the mindset. When I came back, first thing first I wanted is to subscribe to Bloomberg, because for a trader, serious trader with a lot of capital, you can't survive with Bloomberg. And it took me 6 months to convince my family that Bloomberg is important for us if we have to grow, if we have to institutionalize this company. So yes, it was tough, but what ends well is okay.
of course, the proof is in the pudding at the end of the day. So eventually, you started with Kredent Academy 2008, right?
Yeah.
And then and that what was that? What was the objective there? I know there was a credit. First of all, what does credit mean? I think let's talk from there. Where did the name Kredent come from? What does it mean? And then let's talk about the academy bit.
Sure. So when I came back and I started my trading desk, so the first thing we required was to, when you are institutionalizing a setup. So when I came back, there were 20, 22 people working in the company. So I thought that we have to create a corporate setup. Typically, when an MBA comes back after MBA, the MBA will do all these things. So I thought, let's create a brand identity. So Credent stands for knowledge and credibility. So K stands for knowledge and credibility is credibility. So Credent. And every activity we do, we thought that we will have such a strong knowledge orientation that it cannot be random. There has to be some science behind whatever we are doing. And we started trading markets, we started recruiting people, developing models around the market. And I started Credent Academy more for passion, more for fun, and more for recruiting talent for my trading desk. So it was more of a backward integration, never intended to become a business. It was more of giving back to society and help public in large to learn the art and science behind market. I did that from 2008 to 2013 in parallel to my trading desk. My main business is the trading desk, and academy was more of a passion. After 2013, India is a different India after 2014, and we all know the reason why. And I thought that this is a golden opportunity to take that education initiative to a proper full-fledged business. And then I was joined by my partner Vineet Patawri and other partner Vinay Pagaria in this exercise of online education and online data analytics.
And then in 2015, I think that's the time when you started launching a lot of these tech products, right? You started
Yeah,
with Elearnmarket, you started with iRage broking services, you again started with StockEdge. This
yeah,
this is against the grain of any advice any VC will ever give. कोई VC
yeah.
आपको ये नहीं बोलने वाला है कि यार एक साथ तीन तीन बिजनेस दो चला रहे थे तीन और आपने लॉन्च कर दिए, right? But each one of them was trying to cater to a different part of the market, right? So इसका like what was the thought process? कि ये like was it required that you had to have three different brands plus Credent, right? I'm guessing Credent is
Yeah.
the holding company here, right? But you had three different brands. You're trying to build them all at the same time, right?
Yeah.
E-learning, StockEdge, and you've got the broking services bit. ये सब क्या what was the thought there? Like कि तीनों एक साथ launch करने का क्या fund है?
So, Anirudh, I always launch business to make profit. I belong to that school of thought who loves finally माल कितना बिकेगा, खर्चा कितना होगा, profit कितना घर पे आएगा. We that kind of a background I come from. So whenever I'm launching a product, so my trading desk is for profit always. I don't think so we have ever witnessed a drawdown any month, because that's the whole philosophy of that trading desk, that profit बनाना ही अपने को, चाहे वो कम ही बने. Uh, iRage was more of a partnership with a couple of IIT. In fact, there were 7 IIT we collaborated together to create algo trading desk. So in 2009, algo trading was allowed in India. So there was a huge potential. So I am not a techie. So, or I can't recruit techie and, kind of have them on board forever. So I thought, let's do partnership with the right techie. So that is a separate business with them where they are leading the show. And I'm one of the partners there. My family is one of the partners there. So that we launched
I
in
see.
2010. It is more of a proprietary trading algo desk. Um, Elearnmarkets Stockage was launched with two different objectives. When we launched Elearnmarkets, we wanted to create India's first specialized finance marketplace, learning marketplace. And Stockage, we wanted to create Bloomberg for retail investor. When we identified that both are finally serving the same purpose, that they are empowering retail investor, then in
Correct.
2018 we merged both the working, and the tech head become the overall tech head, and CEO became the overall CEO of the company.
And what's very interesting about your whole setup, I find, Vivek, is that there is a brand that you are yourself, right? I mean, you have a very loyal following today, right? And people that look forward to your advice. You're known in very well known circles. So, and it's very rare because many founders ke saath, I have this conversation ki you have to build a personal brand
Yeah,
beyond your, and that brand empowers the brands that you build. In your case, StockEdge and Elearn and Kredent for that matter. And then the brand builds you back, right?
yeah,
ये many people don't get it, but I think this is very well done by Virgin and Richard Branson, right? वो कि there are two different entities, but they're all building each other.
yeah.
आपने ये obviously कहीं ना कहीं सोचा है. ये strategy है. This is not something that has happened out of random. Uh, what was the plan? Like, how did you come up with this idea? यार एक अपना brand बनाना भी जरूरी है और एक obviously ये जो मेरे brand बना है उनका brand भी बनाना जरूरी है. And you've got a
Okay.
very strong personal brand, right? And where did this strategy come from?
So, thank you for asking this question. So when we were running Elearnmarkets and Stockage and we were reaching to audience, I saw a distinct characteristic of tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities in India, where their loyalty towards individual is so high that probably from a corporate brand perspective, they always think that the corporate brand is a service provider. Okay. But this individual is my real guide, my philosopher. He's something who's really doing it for me. So, and we as an organization is so focused on Bharat because I really want to go to the deepest level of the country and save the money which those poor guys are losing by investing in chit funds and all those things. I mean, metro people can take care of themselves. People are learned, and there are many people who are already trying to take care of them. But real India is not here. Real India is at Bharat. So there, I realized that if I really want a household name, my company brand will only reach to probably mobile phone of my user. But if I have to be a discussion point at the dining table, then I have to become someone has to do it. And other two
Correct.
partners were so generous that they told me that we believe in you, so you should be the face of the company. That's and probably I'm also passionate to teach and to give back my thought process and very candidly.
But tell us a little bit about that journey because I know at least, and I think this comes from a very Indian mindset. जो हम लोग स्कूल में
Yeah,
सीखते हैं ना कि ज्यादा हाथ ऊपर मत किया करो, अपने ज्यादा ज्ञान मत दिया करो. But क्योंकि people tend to obviously, I mean, 130 crore की आबादी है, तो you're gonna have 50% that like you, 50% that don't. And many
yeah,
people, because of the fear of failure or fear of getting derided, tend not to talk. And I'm
yeah.
sure this some thought comes to all of our mind. When I started blogging, it happened to me in 2015 as well. But आपने इसको overcome कैसे किया? Today there's a founder and there are many founders listening in, right? What is your advice to them about building this personal thought process, this personal brand? कि how can they start? How can they ensure or get over that initial हिचकिचाहट जिसे आप कहते हैं कि यार मेरे को हिचकिचाहट है, मैं बोलूंगा तो कोई कुछ ऐसा ना बोल दे, कोई कुछ वैसा ना बोल दे, उसके लिए आप क्या एडवाइस दोगे?
See, so I mean, in your family also, if you have many members in the family, not all of them will agree to all your thought process, right? There is a
Very true.
disagreement among your family member, among your friends, and we all know how to deal with that, right? So for me, this entire society, which I'm trying to cater to, is my extended family, and I know that there will be some people who will criticize, and I just accept their criticism as a feedback and move on. So we have to just live with this as our own part of our own circle of influence rather than just thinking too much loudly about oh इसने मुझे ये बोल दिया उसने मुझे ये बोल दिया. And if you are active on Twitter, so I have almost 1,80,000 friends in Twitter, and And this is crazy. I mean, Twitter is such a platform where people can make you psychologically so disturbed because you never know who is behind this, and they will keep on bombarding you with their negative thoughts. You just have to, here I think Gandhigiri works a lot. That if they are doing it, just say that, okay, I'm taking it as a feedback, I'm taking it as a compliment, and I move on, and people will stop bothering you.
That's really sage advice. I know a lot of people are asking us to speak in Hindi, but our show is primarily English. But हम लोग try करेंगे थोड़ा सा हिंदी में बोलने के लिए. Uh, but to your thought, right? That it is so true that you just have to give out your thoughts, right? क्योंकि
Yeah,
आपको पूरी कंट्री में सबको कन्विंस करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. Even if you
sure.
convince 1% of this country to your line of thought, right? You have 13 million followers in no time, right? And
Yeah,
that itself should be motivation enough to to put out your thoughts. And I've been in your position, on LinkedIn, where sometimes आप एक अपना thought बता रहे हो लोग किस तरीके से उस चीज को तोड़ मोड़ के आपको पूरा पेल सकते हैं, right?
yeah,
वो एक fear रहता है, but I think you have to put out your thoughts and then let the Almighty take care of everything else.
yeah,
So let's talk about StockEdge now. I think everything is now aggregating back into StockEdge, right? Where StockEdge is
yeah,
this brand.
yeah.
What up StockEdge kar kya raha hai? What does StockEdge do for the common investor? Where is the today launched, I think May 6th, 2016,
Yeah.
right? What do you see and what does it fulfill in a zero dha grow trend line type of market? Where does StockEdge come in?
Sure. So, when we thought about stockage, so there were two uh, big daddy of financial analytic tools. One was Bloomberg, which was extremely expensive. Another was Money Control, which has evolved over a period of time. But that time, Money Control was not one of those great platforms. And obviously, it's owned by media, so there is fair bit of clutteredness there. So we
Correct.
thought that can we create a product right in the middle where it's clutter free, it's simple, yet it adds value to people. So that's where the philosophy of stockage is. And when we are thinking of retail investor, one of the problem with current ecosystem is that all these platforms, they give data, assuming that a user understands the meaning of this data. Whereas we say that if you are giving debt to equity ratio to a user, 9 out of 10 users don't know what is debt equity ratio. So
Correct.
first you have to explain them what is debt equity ratio. You have to give them detailed classification of debt equity ratio. Then only they'll be able to make judgment out of it. So I still believe that we are the only platform who are very learning integrated. So at every section of stockage, you will have some learning text or video or something which is helping a person to learn this whole market properly. The vision is very simple, that there are so many investors who are coming. We are almost 7 crore investors, and I see that number go to 15 crore in couple of years.
That
It's
is huge.
anybody's guess
15
how many
crore
years it
investors,
will take.
that will be a lot of liquidity in the market.
A lot of liquidity is waiting for, and the liquidity which is parked in gold and real estate, finally they all will realize that what opportunity we have missed by not investing in equity as an asset class. So a lot of investors will come, and all these platforms like Zerodha, Grow, Paytm, Money, etc., they will really be an important catalyst to that growth of onboarding new investors. But finally, these investors cannot make money just by transaction platform, right? I
Correct.
mean, can you just plug into Zerodha and commit that yes, you will make money? No, they have done phenomenal work in onboarding users and giving them, sexy transaction platform. But then finally, user will need value-added service provider to guide them to do what
Correct.
exactly is needed based on their individual risk appetite. So stockage will eventually become kind of a robo analyst, uh, which will be like your analyst on your mobile phone, and based on your risk appetite, your objective of participation in the market, we should be able to tell you that this is your portfolio or this is a stock you have to trade. And that journey starts with first aggregating data, cleaning that data. India is a horrible market for data.
So true.
The
So
quality of data we have is because there was no accountability of data. Even the companies are not made accountable for right reporting. So we have to do a lot of work on cleaning that data which we are capturing from multiple places. A lot of AI machine learning is going to clean that data and then presenting that data and and deriving analytics out of that data to create that ready-made analytics solution for retail investors.
What's interesting is, like, and we'll get into the funding bit in a bit, but I really want to talk about कि आपने ना कि ये StockEdge Club या StockEdge जो
Yeah,
premium membership है, right? Because India में एक ये भी आदत है कि money control gives out data for free. The problem also is that people are not willing to pay for data. In a
yeah,
market with, I think today, thousands of people trading and many of them professional traders, how many actually have taken a Bloomberg terminal, right? And how many are
yeah,
willing to pay for Trendline? Trendline का भी online, I mean, annual membership is almost nothing. If you compare to what the data is coming out,
yeah,
I don't even think money control has been able to convince as many people to pay. So in this market, problem भी है कि आप data बना भी लेते हो set, तो people don't want to pay, right? And sir,
yeah, yeah,
आपके कुछ अभी feed में भी आ रहे हैं, can I get a free course? Can you make the course for free? उस मार्केट में यू हैव लॉन्च आपने लॉन्च किया है कि वी आर गोइंग टू चार्ज, राइट? एंड दिस इज अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन फॉर मेनी एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, हाउ शुड आई चार्ज, हाउ मच शुड आई चार्ज एंड व्हाई शुड आई चार्ज,
yeah.
राइट? क्योंकि जब फ्री में दे रहे हैं और मैं चार्ज कर रहा हूं, तो किस तरीके से हम कर पाएंगे? तो on that, like, what was like when you launched this premium service, what was your thought कि कितने लोग पे करने वाले हैं, and why launch a paid service when everybody else is doing it for free?
Yeah. So first thing first, we can't charge for data for sure. So at no point of time we are charging for data which is a commodity data, commoditized data, because it's available everywhere. All we are doing it capturing and cleaning it, and no one will realize the value of that cleaning process. So no one will pay us for that data, and we should not charge for data because that's the core DNA of our product. That it is a nice and clean data which we are giving. But yes, we can charge for value added analytics. And for the last 1 year as an organization, we have done our work on the data side, but now we are building a lot of analytics on top of that data. And if I can facilitate decision making based on that analytics, and people make money from my analytics, then people won't mind sharing, some bit of subscription for my product, which is helping them to make money, right? I can't just give data because charge for data because people are loving that whole data experience. But if people make money in market due to that analytics, why not? And that is what we are experiencing. Last 1 year, the number of people who are subscribing to these value-added analytics has almost grown 3 times, 4 times. And I believe that now the new generation which is coming into the system, they have that propensity to pay for value-added analytics in a platform.
In fact, it's a very interesting question from, I think, helping Kanha. Let me just. He says that as a beginner, can you see it? Yeah. As a beginner, Elearnmarket or StockEdge, what is best?
Okay, so it's like comparing apple with orange. So Elearnmarkets is for your education need. Obviously, as a beginner, you need to get educated. But while you are getting educated, you need access of right data. Okay, because that education is theory, and practical application of that theory will only come if you have right data framework. So both will go hand in hand. And that's the reason in Elearnmarkets, our modules have stockage as deeply integrated. So, say for example, if you learn about IPO from us, so there is nice video recorded. I mean, our content is as rich as probably what Byju's is doing for elementary education. We have done for financial education. A lot of animations, a lot of nicely presented content. So, if you learn about IPO from a faculty recorded video, and then immediately you have stockage screen with live data of the live IPO which is going on, that practical application of theory into the real world is something only we can do because we have both the product and it's easier for us to integrate both the products together.
So, I think many people ask me कि इसको हिंदी में आप कैसे बोलोगे? तो बेसिकली आप कहने का मतलब ये हुआ कि एक तरीके से एक आपका पूरा रिपोजिटरी है या तो एक पूरा लाइब्रेरी है डेटा का,
हाँ,
और एक प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेशन है उस चीज का कि भाई किताबें तो बहुत है, पर
हाँ,
प्रैक्टिकल वर्ल्ड में क्या यूज होगा, ये दोनों का एक रिलेशनशिप है. तो आपको अगर सीखना है तो ईलर्न से सीखना है, और आपको अप्लाई करना है तो स्टॉक से अप्लाई करना है. वुड दैट बी करेक्ट?
correct. So just
Again, my
imagine.
apologies, ये पूरा शो इंग्लिश में है. I mean, we are trying very hard to incorporate some bit of Hindi here, but again, yeah, जो विवेक का channel है on YouTube that has a lot of content in Hindi. So if something doesn't मेक सेंस, आप वापस वहां जाके कुछ ना कुछ देख पाएंगे, बहुत कुछ सीख पाएंगे. So I'll now come to a very interesting part, right? A Calcutta-based entrepreneur launching tech company in 2015, market where Bangalore, Delhi, Bombay dominate, right? Calcutta really became big for the food tech part. And I'm an
Yeah.
investor. I mean, I know the Wow founders. They're probably the the flagship today. I invested in Chai Break and so on and so forth. इन दैट मार्केट आप निकले कि भाई मैंने ये जो कंपनियां बनाई हैं, क्रेडेंट बनाया है, हमने जो ब्रांड बनाए हैं, एंड 2018 में मैंने उनको मर्ज भी किया है, काफी कुछ चीजें सीखी है, मेरा खुद का पर्सनल ब्रांड है, अब मुझे इसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट रेज करना है. बट
Yeah.
यू आर अ वेरी सक्सेसफुल ट्रेडर, यू डन वेरी वेल फॉर योरसेल्फ. आपको आउटसाइड पैसे की जरूरत क्या थी? व्हाट वाज द नीड टू रेज मनी?
Uh, so the first raise which we did was from Mr. Ramesh Damani, Mr. Dinesh Agarwal of IndiaMart, Mr. Ajay Sharma, and many more investors, because all of them are users of our product. And they voluntarily said that whenever you need any money, we'll be happy to participate. So we thought that it's not a bad idea to take some money from these marquee names
Is
because
this
they
also
add
around the
so
time
much
you picked up the
value.
money?
Yeah, he's Mr. Ramesh Damani. Yeah. The tallest of the lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Is this the time when you guys closed the deal with him?
Yes. This was the time when he closed the deal, and he was gracious to come to our office in Salt Lake, Calcutta, and bless us. So we thought that it's always good to have them as our mentor and bounce ideas with them, get criticized, get on a periodical basis, get bashing from them as elders who can guide us the right way. So and then after a point of time we went totally busy into developing the product. So 2000 and after 2018, 2019, 20, we were so focused on using that money which they have given. I consider that money to be my money. So technically I was bootstrapped till we raised recent money from Kotak. So, and I have actually not spent the money which they have given, because it's always like this, that their money is my money, so I have to be very, very prudent in spending the money which they have given. So that journey of raising money from them was more of a, as like a friend and family round.
Hmm.
And then this pandemic gave us huge impetus on our growth, and we realized that now is the time where we have to press the growth trigger, because we have done the hard work, we have done the products, people love us. Now is the time to reach to larger mass. We can't keep on growing organically. We need funding to grow aggressively. So that's where we are fortunate that Kotak happened, and they wanted to grow with us. We wanted to grow with them. So they took a minority small stake in our company. And now we are all poised for some aggressive growth in our company.
Before I get into Kotak, though, it's very, like you obviously want strategic investors in your company, right? Especially a platform like yours. But getting someone who literally is at the forefront, right? एक होता है कि आप एक strategic को लेकर आते हो कि भाई ठीक है, there are no name, but Mr. Ramesh Damani is at the forefront. He's on the TV, people know him. And he's not a very known startup investor, right?
Yeah.
ऐसा नहीं रमेश जी का खुद का कोई 150-200 स्टार्टअप का पोर्टफोलियो और फिर आपके साथ पैसा लगा रहे, right? He's a very, very shrewd and very, very selective kind of investor.
Yeah.
But getting him, even if he puts in $50,000, it is actually worth 5 million, because वो जो like you said, वो learning जो आने वाली है, right?
Yeah.
And वो जो access आने वाला है, because you have someone like that, is a huge thing. And many founders, I think, miss that beat, right? You need to get, sometimes either they do the, या तो strategic को बहुत ज़्यादा stake दे देंगे, right? When the VC feels कि ये strategic ही acquire कर लेगा, why are we investing? Right? Or the other option is that you don't get any strategics, right? And then you're trying to get the VC to run the show. You're doing it yourself, but it's almost running with trying to drive a car with a bit of a square wheel, right? But what people like Ramesh Damai do is that take that square and make it into a properly rounded wheel so the car can run. What is the key? How do you first of all choose कि किस strategy को लाना है, right? And what is the key to get them on board? There are two questions here, right? And they're very, very, again, we're not talking from a stock market angle, we're talking really from a VC or a entrepreneur angle. Ki how do you choose ki kisko lana hai strategic? When should we bring them? And third thing is ki bhai, how to bring them, right?
So,
Meanwhile,
very honestly, Anirudh, we were so focused on developing good product and good experience to our customers that all these strategic guys came through that route. We never went to them. They came and they said that you are doing XYZ, which is very exciting, and I want to be part of this journey. So I'm a very product guy, and we make sure that product keeps on improving and we give good experience to our users. And these users, in fact, we have so many after this deal, so many of our users are saying that, sir, we want to invest. I want to invest 50,000. I want to invest 10,000. I want to invest 1 lakh in with you, but unfortunately today we are not in a stage where we can take micro retail investment money, but purely user driven investment offers we have received. So I don't know how other people, what kind of product they have. If you have more B2B, you can obviously, if you are good and servicing your client, the client would invest in you ideally, right? If you are a good B2C, all these retail customers or HNI will invest in you if your product is good and adding value to their business.
and then I think the next question being ki, like, obviously Ramesh Damani and other people might not have been the only people. There will be more. But आपने कुछ cherry pick किया है, right? How did you choose? Okay, I want this guy. I don't want that guy. Like, what was the thought process there? And how do you safely say no? Like, you don't want to lose a user, right? But at the same time, you may not want the capital. How do
Yeah.
you balance that?
See, we when we communicate with these investors, we clearly try to understand their intent. And all these strategic investors have never discussed exit with us. Never. Right? That's one common thing I've seen, that probably they are invested with us perpetually. And if exit happens, is great. Otherwise, they're happy investing with us because they like what we are doing. So whenever we got opportunity to get evaluated by few equivalent guys, but if the guys ask you first question that mera exit kaise hoga, that's typically puts us up, because you are not a VC, to ask us the exit. You are a value added strategic investor who likes what we are doing. Now you can't also ask me whether mere ko exit milega ki nahi. It's like that on me, right?
So where does this journey? So I think after that, you also raised some money from venture capitalists, it seems.
So during that round of Ramesh Damani ji, Samyak Capital, which is a common,
Got
I
it,
think
got
there's
it.
a common ownership with some, so they invested in our company. And in the latest round, when Kotak has invested, they have increased, they have added to the investment.
And what was the now? Let's talk about Kotak Securities again.
Yeah,
Again, a strategic, not really a traditional VC investor.
yeah.
Kotak के साथ आपने जब you chose to make this deal happen. What was the thought process? Like you said, you haven't even used the capital you had taken before, right? Now you've diluted more capital to Kotak. But how did this whole deal happen?
So, as I said, during COVID, we witnessed good growth, and we got so much confident that yes, now we are ready for massive expansion. So we started talking to people for growth capital, and Kotak somehow thought that what we are doing goes well with their ecosystem, and rather than reinventing the wheel, they found us to be reasonable people, and we started interaction. I think in November 2020, and it took us around 2 3 months of round of discussions that we closed our engagement of discussion in January, but it took them 4 to 5 months to complete the due diligence. And
Wow.
this is the first investment Kotak Group that has been communicated to me, that Kotak Group has never invested in any entity ever. This is the first investment this group has made. So they wanted to be doubly sure what they are getting into, all the and the legal due diligence. For a Calcutta-based company, you can understand the depth
Yeah.
one would like to get into. But we are very happy that everything was sorted, and it took them time to finally conclude this and give us the money. But it was a great experience of going through the rigor of an organization like Kotak, because Kotak Securities is not Kotak Securities. It is Kotak Bank, which is behind them. So they wanted to be 100% sure that every bit of this company is neat and clean.
I'm going to ask a question. I don't. It just came to my mind, and I think it's a very important question to ask you now. And I don't think this was part of any of our discussions before. You invest in stocks, you invest in commodities, you invest in derivatives. Now that you have the strength of this capital behind you, have you started investing in startups?
Uh, I invest in only one startup. It's my startup. I have personally invested my 4 crore in this venture since I started this business, and I believe in this startup. So right now, the focus is only this startup. Given an option, I would still like to invest more if my existing investors allow me to invest and keep growing with them.
But what do you think about the ecosystem? Is there opportunities for Credent as a brand or Credent as an investor to start seeding some of these, ancillary properties that are getting built? A lot of fantasy trading being talked about, a lot of Dream 11 type stuff coming up in the stock market game.
Yeah.
Is there opportunities where Credent could be a little bit more strategic as an investor now?
Yeah.
What are you looking
So
for? If you are looking for, then what are you looking for from the ecosystem?
So one thing we definitely initiated last year was that any business, any entrepreneur who has worked on similar kind of a product line which may suit our user base, we would love to collaborate with them, invest a small amount in them, and grow together as an incubation facility. So we did
Interesting.
this pilot project with a team of 2 people, but unfortunately that didn't work out because of some other reasons. But yes, we are open to that idea now. But obviously, this capital which we have received, it will be used only for this business because this business is very capital hungry now, and we really want to grow. But they obviously they're a family asset, and we are always exploring new areas of investment. But we are a listed equity guys. We find so much opportunities in listed market that we find excitement there. As far as
But
family
come
offices,
on, Vivek, you got to give some back to the startup because you got listed equity guys to come into you. It's time
yeah,
to give some. To that question though, like if an entrepreneur today, and there's a bunch of them listening in today, if they want to reach out to you, right, and if they want to explain how their platform can enhance what StockEdge is already doing as a base, right?
yeah.
What should they be telling you first of all, right? And how can they reach out to you?
Okay, so I'll just share with you my user base, character of my user base. So 60% of my user base is first-time investors in India, 20% are active traders, and 20% are active investors. Okay. So if you feel that this entire ecosystem, we have almost 2.5 million user base, registered user base verified. So if you believe that this ecosystem, you can add value, and we all can grow together to serve these users in the right possible manner. Please do connect with me at vivek@stockage.com. That's pretty simple email ID. I'll be happy to discuss whatever form of synergy is possible.
Vivek@stockers.com. I think Vivek, one of the emails is going to come from me, right? So I have some idea. Maybe we should definitely talk about. But thank you so much for being generous to give out your email, and people can reach out to you directly over there, and definitely have a conversation on how both platforms can be grown. Your own startup and the one that Vivek is obviously building. So
Sure.
Abhi, I think recently you've crossed 2 million app downloads, right? 20
Yeah.
lakh app downloads on the Play Store and App Store combined. So that is truly amazing, right? Considering that obviously you have not burnt a ton of money doing it, right? This is a lot of it is organic. I mean, I would imagine 80-90% is organic at this point, probably
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah.
But what's that feeling like? When you hit the 2 million mark, was there a big party? What was the feeling like when you got to 2 million? I
So
know
I
you're going to
think
say that there is 14 crore, 15 crore people that I need to touch, but 2 million is still a number you cannot ignore.
yeah, it's a big number. We partied when we hit our first 10,000 users, because we were not expecting that number, very honestly. But after that, I think we have not partied because our target is so high that we believe that as the market ecosystem is growing, there is need of product like ours in this entire ecosystem. So in fact, we have 2.5 million downloads now, combining both
Wow.
Android as well as Apple. So, and most of this download is organic. I mean, we have started spending on marketing in last 5 to 6 months. But if you see last 4 years, purely based on the product reviews and the strength of the product, people have been downloading, referring other people. So it's
What
a
is
good
the
feeling.
split between Android and Apple? What is the split that you have?
Almost 80-20. 80% will be Android and 20 Apple. Yeah.
And of the two, again, like I'm guessing the paid users would be more on the Apple side as a conversion rate.
Conversion rate, yes, on the Apple
Yeah.
side, but the number of users, paid users, are more on the
Yeah,
Android
no,
side.
and I think it's a very important stat to remember, right? Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
obviously it's horses for courses at the end of the day. You need to be on the Apple side if you really want to, because obviously that's a much more affluent
yeah.
customer coming into usually. No, good, yeah. I think now let's come to the brass tacks. There's a few things we should talk about. I know a lot of your viewers here would love to hear. And where do you see StockEdge in the next 5 years?
In terms of the scale, as I said, we have so many users coming in, so we want to be on the mobile app of quite a decent number of people. I don't want to give a number there because that should become very big, because as the market system grows big, we should be very big. I want to take it global because I think this entire ecosystem of learning and analytics together in a unified framework. Plus, we have recently launched a social platform called StockEdge Social, which will allow people to collaborate with each other, to discuss ideas, do peer to peer as well as expert to peer collaboration. So we just did a beta launch there. So idea is to bring that whole ecosystem, which we will develop in India, will become a significant size in India, and take it to other regions where there is a need of this kind of an ecosystem.
Wow, that's a big vision, global. That's like you're using Bloomberg and now going back and trying to and looking at owning their market.
Yeah, I hope I meet Michael Bloomberg someday and reach there. That's, I
But
mean,
I
he's
would love
my,
to see him invest into your company
yeah.
and see if we need to be more like StockEdge. So I've got a few minutes before we go to rapid fire, Vivek. I'm going to ask maybe some commonly asked questions, and since there are a lot of founders here, I know a lot of your followers already have access to this material, but a lot of the founders that are here that are probably looking at the stock market thinking, "Yaar, kya kare?" A few questions maybe that are a little generic, but would love for you to get your answers on. What are the most common mistakes people make while investing?
Well, the most common mistake is people go beyond their capability in terms of their own capital. I have received numerous emails, very distressing emails, where people say that I have credit card outstanding, I use it in stock market, I have XYZ money to be paid to this money lender. It's a most common mistake कि वो अपनी चादर से ज़्यादा पाँव फैलाते हैं ना, so they get into debt trap, and it's so difficult to get out of that debt trap if you have lost money in stock market.
So don't use debt. आप debt के साथ trading ना करें. Debt के साथ
Yeah.
investing ना करें. Right? I think
Investing
trading
or any kind of stock market participation, you can't use debt to trade as well as invest in market. It has to be your disposable capital. If you lose that money, you should not get nervous. I mean, that's kind of capital you should be willing to put in market.
Second question: what are your current thoughts, right, on the current state of the stock market? I think we've reached a peak, and जब भी लगता है कि थोड़ा सा घटेगा और बढ़ रहा है market. तो अभी what are your thoughts on that?
So stock market, if you see historically, last 100 years of Dow movement, uh, most of the time when market goes up, it is for a prolonged period of time, and every time market goes down, it recovers very fast. In fact, done this empirical study. I saw that in our lifetime, we will get four opportunities to make big money from stock market. That means four times market falls, and that's where you can put a lot of your capital and make wealth out of that market. 2020, whoever put capital at the right time, they've really ripped the benefit. So I had my time in 2008, 2020. I have two more left. You have to figure out how many is left in your life and plan that. I think that's something which you have to understand. And
Certainly, I'm a
second
bit
is
depressed because I was also
market.
in both those down markets.
Sorry, come back.
Certainly, I'm a bit depressed because I was also in both those down markets. So it just feels like दो बार ही बाकी है. I would imagine चार पांच और opportunity मिलनी चाहिए थी.
Well, I think you are in the right place by being in the startup circle, which obviously has a higher beta and higher possibility of generating more IRR. Because ultimately, after the startup, then comes stock market. So most of the valuation is done when the company gets listed in stock market. You know the cycle, right?
Yep, very
Uh,
true.
and stock market is a function of simple function of interest rate. So if interest rates is low globally, which Fed has clearly mentioned that coming 1 to 2 years till 2023, they have no intention of increasing the interest rate aggressively. So stock market is, there's too much liquidity in the system for market to not fall. So I think there will be corrections, but we'll have to figure out right stocks. And there is a great opportunity in India, especially the SME and mid cap stocks, because the whole formalization of our economy, because of GST and because of other initiatives which the government has taken, coming 5 years, we are all going to reap the benefit of this formalized economy. So one should be invested, but yes, you will have to bear the hiccups of volatility because that's how market it is.
I'll ask one audience question from Sanjoy Karan. He asks, Sir, please tell us your most common mistake. What is the mistake that you are most accused of making yourself in the obviously in the investing market?
So when we all start, we all make the same mistake because we are young and we are there to do all kind of things. The most common mistake is that trying to trade in every idea,
Hmm.
and then finally you have so much of position in your hand that when market takes a U-turn, you are not able to handle your position. So and then I learned it. So and thereafter I changed the style, and now it is more of elimination. That when ideas come, think which one should not be taken, and restrict yourself to 10, 15, 20 positions which you can handle when there is adversity in the market, because adversity can strike anytime. It's so unpredictable.
And very very it's not just advice for today's market. I think what the advice you've given is for an it's like an ever present philosophy that you should have
Yeah,
towards investing. And my last
yeah.
question, I think, before we go to rapid fire, and I think this is something that is very, very live right now. All these tech IPOs happening, right? What are your thoughts about that? And it's very interesting for me because I'm sitting on the other side as a VC saying, what's going to happen?
So we are living in a new market, pre-Zomato market, and now Indian stock market is a post-Zomato market, and it's very exciting time. I think we are seeing exactly what happened in US market few years ago. Indian market also maturing to accept this new change which has happened. I don't see any reason why there will be this can be called a bubble, because the serious people know the impact of these companies over a longer time frame. And obviously people who don't read much, people who are not into the game, they will always feel about these IPO that these are disgusting IPO. Why loss making companies getting so much of value? But really the power of data, I understood the power of data when I read this book called Modern Monopolies. And it really gave me that perspective that what crazy world we all are living in. After 2008, world has changed, and we all have to understand the impact of these startups in the entire ecosystem. So I will always subscribe to these IPOs no matter what happens, and it's a good bet to have, very honestly.
Thank you so much, Vivek. I really enjoyed the conversation so far. I think more and more people tuning in, more and more people having questions for you. We'll try to take maybe a couple of them before, but we do have a time limit on this show of an hour. So I've got some rapid fire questions. I think you know the rules, but I'll just go over them once again. I'll shoot roughly about 10 to 12 questions at you. First thing that comes to mind, you just, I expect you to just blurt it out and tell us. And if there's any interesting tidbits that we can go a little deeper into, तो हम उसमें थोड़ा सा और सोच विचार करेंगे. So
Okay.
are you ready? Rapid fire?
Sure, sure.
Okay. First question, right? Some of these questions are new. So if you've seen the previous episodes, I might stump you with a few new ones. First question, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and Donald Trump are coming home for dinner. What is the plan?
I'll cook veg for them for sure. I want them to really taste what India is, and veg is something which they should taste if they really want to understand what we do.
And who gets the spiciest plate?
I'll give it to Bill Gates. The reason why is the kind of money we are paying for this window license. And the hardware cost is so much, and almost equivalent we are paying for this window license. He has to rethink about it.
Wow, that's a very interesting perspective. Second question is a Peter Thiel question. That's a very common question I've asked. That one thing that you know to be true, but very few people agree with you on this.
I mean,
I promise later questions are going to be easier.
yeah. See, I'll tell you, even I have two personalities, okay? And one personality believes that there is no God. It's the karma which drives your, whatever you face in this world in future. And my other personality says that that's rubbish here. God is there. There is some superpower who's trying to control your emotions. I mean, you are lone and you are dependent on your karma.
Okay, what's one important lesson that you've learned till now? Again, I'm talking about your venture journey. No.
I most important lesson is that everything has a time, and you can't do things before time. If you do it, it will not yield you result, which can demotivate you. And if you do it too late, then it's too late. So I mean, you need to be probably lucky to be doing this right thing at the right time. But if you give more mind to that, probably we can see things. Well, I'll give you an example. I've been into financial education for 10 to 12 years. This was way before time. And people used to tell me that how many people want to get into financial education? Why are you wasting your time? And today, when I say that I've reached a scale doing that, then people say that, oh, you have been doing this for 10 years. What big deal? Yeah. So people don't understand that the time came just 2 years ago. I was busy building that base for 6 years. Now, if you look at my date of incorporation and tell me, "Tum to itne time se kar rahe ho," but that was not the time. I was before time. So that's one thing which I probably I'm still trying to. Although I have been able to time things properly, I went into algo trading at the right time. I went into commodities trading at the right time. But somehow with this venture, I think we were before time.
I think to your point, sometimes people, it's like people always want to buy at the top, sell at the top and buy at the bottom, right?
Yeah,
But people have lost more money, and this is a very very common yeah, saying, right? People have lost more money trying to time the market, right,
yeah,
than just investing in it, right? And I
yeah.
think बात वही हो रही है कि भाई कि eventually आपको जो आगे जाके लगता है होने वाला है उतना कन्विक्शन होना चाहिए कि मैं वहां खड़ा होने को तैयार हूँ.
Yeah.
पानी आएगा एक दिन, पर जब तक पानी नहीं आएगा मैं वहां खड़ा हूँ, राइट? क्योंकि जिस दिन पानी आएगा मैं तैयार हूँगा, राइट? एंड आई थिंक वो कन्विक्शन होना बहुत जरूरी है, राइट? दैट कन्विक्शन हैज टू बी देयर, दैट व्हाटएवर यू आर डूइंग इज राइट एंड यू आर विलिंग टू वेट, हैव द पेशेंस.
Well, Andrew, it's a very tough world here. It's a very cruel world. The world will never allow you to stay on your conviction. It's just that it really needs that metal inside an entrepreneur to stay in that conviction. That's why people say that entrepreneurship is a lone battle, because if you have done right thing, people will not compliment you. If you have done something wrong, then there are so many people to pass their expert comment in your life, especially in
10
India,
years
I
ago
think.
when मैंने शुरू
More
किया
here.
था स्टार्टअप इन्वेस्टिंग तब यही हुआ था, राइट? Nobody
Uh,
invested in startup. We come from a traditional Marwadi stock broking house family,
yeah.
राइट? और तभी ये था कि यार क्या कर रहे हो ये सब, अनलिस्टेड स्टॉक में इन्वेस्ट करते जा रहे हो, और आज अरे तुम मतलब 10 साल से कर रहे हो, क्या इसमें क्या उखड़ लिया? लाइक आई
True.
थिंक on the same page. Name one Indian founder who according to you is absolutely killing it right now.
I would say Nitin Kamath, no doubt about it. Because I've known Nitin for very early days. We used to interact a lot, and he, from day one, he knew what he's doing. Although we took a different path. A lot of people tell me that why didn't you become a broker? And I tell people that I can't see the pain of my customer losing money. And being a broker, at the end of the day, you will see how many people have lost money, because 90% people will lose money. So that pain will not allow me to sleep. So I'm happy going the education way and other things, which gives me more peace of mind. And Nitin has done phenomenal job in really doing what he wanted to do.
Amazing, amazing choice. I mean, he's really done something truly amazing, right?
Mm.
With his startup. When do you get your best work done, Vivek? Is it morning or night?
I'm a night person, so I love nights.
So if you're
Peaceful.
emailing him, be emailing him at night. That's when he'll be
Yeah.
reading the emails.
Most of the time, my replies are in nights. People know that.
Who is your favorite superhero? Are you a superheroes person?
Not really. I love myself, very honestly. I'm okay.
uh, let's see. One thing you would like to change about the Indian startup ecosystem.
I think that whole craze for Bangalore, I think India has to consider other cities. I just ran a campaign in LinkedIn where we shared some photographs of Calcutta, Rasgulla, skyline of Calcutta changing, and we told people that in today's world, there is no need of everything boiling down to one city. So Bombay, financial market. Bangalore, startup. That whole concept is so colonizing. And the perception inside this whole ecosystem कि बैंगलोर वाला है तो अच्छा ही होगा कलकत्ते वाला क्या करेगा that
True, true.
that thing has to change because in India it is so peculiar. If you see a US, of course, Silicon Valley is there, but then there are startups from other states as well. In China, of course, Shanghai is there, but then there are startups from other states as well. In fact, Zoho is a classic example. Why can't we take inspiration from Zoho and give value to startups from any region of our country?
And to be honest, there are actual funds in the US जो non Silicon Valley में ही invest करते हैं because there's amazing opportunity outside the ecosystem. It's so true. And but to be honest, I think that thought process is changing, right? Because if you look at Zomato, a lot of Delhi-based companies doing these IPOs.
Yeah,
In fact, I'm going to Delhi next week, and interestingly, I just figured this out right now that 80% of our fund portfolio is actually Delhi and not Bangalore. I don't know how we did
oh,
this, but which is very, very
interesting.
interesting.
So, I was
Share more.
discussing.
Sorry,
Sorry
go
to
ahead.
interrupt you in the middle. So I was discussing this point with Dinesh Agarwalji, who is one of my investor, owner of India Mart. So I was talking to him that how do I solve this problem of tech manpower in Calcutta? And he said that when I started India Mart in Noida, टेक दूर दूर की बात थी लेकिन मैंने किया ना वहां पे तो ऐसा नहीं है कि तेरे को कलकत्ता में टैलेंट नहीं मिलेगा maybe you have to do something smarter better and there are enough talent which move out of Calcutta and ultimately go to Bangalore to serve tech companies. So if you give them environment, if you communicate the right thing to them, people will come back. And how many people do you need? Do you need 1,000 people to be worried of? You need 40-50 people because tech भी कितना बड़ा टीम चाहिए तो इतना तो तुमको मिल ही सकता है if you communicate the right way.
And in fact, for many of these guys, Calcutta may be actually a cheaper market to live in than Bangalore, right? And a lot. I mean, traffic is definitely much lesser, I would imagine, than being in
Yeah,
Bangalore today.
yeah, yeah.
Let's see. One quote that inspires you the most. Last three questions.
I keep saying this quote to everyone. I'm not able to recollect the quote from other people, but I keep saying this that be a perpetual learner because anyone, that the term stay hungry, stay foolish. So
Uh-huh.
being foolish is like you want to be a learner, right? You want to
Correct.
say that I'm idiot. Please train me. No, I am ready to learn. So that learning is such an important part of this new world. If we just remain content, then we are gone.
Last two questions. Let's see. What is one business you wish you had founded? I think I already know the answer, but what is one business that you wish you had founded?
I think I would have done Zerodha.
I see. I
I
thought so.
I really I think that path which was there with me, and Nitin always used to tell me that we need more brokers, more people. So think about it, Vivek. And I used to tell that Nitin is not my cup of tea because I can't handle those pressure of losses of clients. But I wish we would have gone in that path and done phenomenal work. At least some bit of work what he did, similar kind of a work.
Second last, or I think this is my last question now. So, one business principle that you live by.
Uh, I mean, totally people driven. Totally, I'm a people's man. And whatever growth I have witnessed is because of my multiple partners, my team, everyone. They are so much focused on the philosophies which we have inculcated in our group entire. And I think that also comes because of the joint family culture I have. We are four brothers, we are 18 family members, all staying together in one building. So we value relationships a lot. And that is something which we have inculcated very nicely in our company.
Wonderful, wonderful advice. I think last, not really a rapid fire question, but what are the three books that you recommend every entrepreneur should read?
So the book which I read was, from zero to one. I think that is one book which is absolutely important, because the concept of binary business can only be understood for after you read that book. Second is Modern Monopolies, to understand how the world has changed. And I read a book, uh, Bloomberg by Michael Bloomberg, when he talked about at the age of 39, when he was moved out of Solomon, how he conceptualized Bloomberg and what else he did to create that. It's a very inspiring story if you want to get inspired from someone.
So Bloomberg on Bloomberg, zero to one, and modern monopolies.
Yeah.
Great advice. We'll also put out these book advices in the comment section below. But Vivek, with that, I didn't even realize we're about an hour and 6 minutes in. We're already 6 minutes above time. But thank you so much for sharing such amazing. I mean, I think this was not your traditional entrepreneurial episode. We had a lot of different elements mixed in, but it was really inspiring to learn about the kind of things you're doing in Calcutta. I've got a lot of good friends, good angel investors out of there. Deepak, you already know him. Mr. Runta over there, right? And I'm really amazed. I'm really happy that you're seeing that we are actually seeing that Calcutta is actually growing up and starting to get more and more tech startup out of there. I think there is a lot of talent, and it's wanting to be heard. And I look forward that someday you'll be sending me some startups that I should be investing in, right? And that I can make a few more bets over there. But any final thoughts for the audience that is here? Both, I think, a lot of your followers on the investor side as well as the founders who are listening in.
Okay. So, I record this series called Face to Face series in Elearnmarkets YouTube channel, where I interview market experts and people who are ordinary people, and they're doing extraordinary work in market which people don't know about. So I've done 100 face to face videos, and all are gold mine for people who want to understand the psychology side of market. And people used to tell me that, when do we see your face to face? When do we see your face to face? And I'm so glad that I'm recording literally my face to face with you. And who better than you to, ask me all these lovely questions? And I feel great to share my life journey with you. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Vivek. That was very kind of you to say that, and I'm really excited. I hope to have you back in a future episode. Maybe at that time we'll be discussing the IPO of StockEdge, and looking forward to having like I said, you as someone who's going to send us more startups and keep that flag flying high for Calcutta. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody. See you again next week. We'll have another guest, and again, Vivek, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you to your team as well. Bye bye. Good night.